Summer is here, and everything you need for adventure is waiting at shockshop.us. Gear up with camping essentials, stylish bathing suits for fun in the sun, reliable generators for every outdoor trip, kayaks, dinghies, and water toys for non-stop excitement. From backyard fun to lakeside escapes, shackshop.us has it all. Shop the summer sale now and save big at shackshop.us.
A wave of powerful earthquakes struck across Asia within a remarkably short period, rattling communities in Indonesia, China, and Japan, and prompting emergency responses from local authorities. The series of seismic events left residents frightened, damaged homes and infrastructure, and renewed concerns about the immense geological forces constantly at work beneath the region. Although earthquakes are common in many parts of Asia, the occurrence of multiple strong tremors across several countries within the same day captured global attention. Indonesia recorded the strongest earthquake of the group, a magnitude 6.7 event near Sulawesi Island. China experienced a deadly magnitude 6.3 quake in Qinghai province, while Japan felt significant shaking from a strong offshore earthquake near Honshu. The events served as a stark reminder that much of Asia sits atop some of the world's most active tectonic boundaries. Millions of people throughout the region live with the ever-present possibility that the ground beneath them can suddenly shift with little warning. Indonesia, hit by the strongest quake. The most powerful earthquake of the day struck Indonesia's central Sulawesi region. The magnitude 6.7 earthquake occurred during the morning hours and was centered southeast of Palu, a city with hundreds of thousands of residents. The shaking was powerful enough to send people rushing out of homes, offices, schools, hotels, and businesses. Witnesses described scenes of confusion as alarms sounded and people searched for open spaces away from buildings. Within minutes, images began appearing online showing cracked walls, collapsed roofs, fallen masonry, and debris scattered across roads. Several structures suffered varying degrees of damage, while emergency crews moved quickly to inspect buildings that could pose dangers to residents. Authorities reported that multiple individuals suffered injuries during the quake. While initial reports suggested no immediate fatalities, officials continued surveying affected areas to determine the full extent of the damage. For residents of Palu, the earthquake revived painful memories of one of the worst disasters in Indonesian history. Memories of the 2018 disaster return. Many residents in Sulawesi still remember the catastrophic earthquake and tsunami that struck the region in 2018. That disaster began with a powerful magnitude 7.5 earthquake before triggering a devastating tsunami that swept through coastal communities. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed, and thousands of lives were lost. The trauma from that event remains deeply embedded within the local population. As the latest earthquake struck, many residents instinctively evacuated buildings and remained outdoors even after the initial shaking stopped. The fear of aftershocks and potential secondary disasters caused many families to stay in open areas for extended periods. Parents gathered children in parks and parking lots. Business owners temporarily closed operations. Hotel guests were escorted outside while structural inspections were conducted. Emergency officials encouraged residents to remain alert, while authorities assessed risks. Buildings damaged. Across central Sulawesi, reports from affected communities indicated that numerous buildings suffered structural damage. Some homes experienced cracked foundations and damaged walls. Several commercial buildings lost sections of roofing. Windows shattered in certain locations, while pieces of concrete and construction material fell onto sidewalks and streets. Inspection teams were deployed to evaluate whether damaged structures remained safe for occupancy. Engineers focused particular attention on schools, hospitals, government facilities, and hotels, where large numbers of people gather daily. Roadways also required inspection. Even moderate structural damage to transportation routes can complicate rescue efforts if aftershocks occur. Local authorities urged residents to avoid entering visibly damaged buildings until professional assessments could be completed. A series of aftershocks followed. As often happens after a major earthquake, the initial event was followed by a sequence of aftershocks. Several secondary tremors were felt throughout the day, including one exceeding magnitude 5. Although aftershocks are generally weaker than the main earthquake, they can still cause significant problems. Buildings already weakened by the first quake may sustain additional damage. Loose debris can fall, and frightened residents often experience renewed anxiety whenever the ground begins shaking again. Seismologists explained that aftershocks occur as the Earth's crust adjusts to changes in stress caused by the primary rupture. The frequency of aftershocks typically decreases over time, but some can continue for days, weeks, or even months, depending on the magnitude of the original event. Emergency response. Mobilized Indonesia's disaster management agencies immediately activated emergency protocols. Rescue teams, medical personnel, police officers, and military units were placed on standby. Damage assessment crews spread across affected districts to identify areas requiring urgent assistance. Hospitals prepared for potential patient surges, as while local governments established communication centers to coordinate information. Officials emphasized the importance of verifying information through trusted sources, as rumors and misinformation often spread rapidly following major disasters. Authorities also monitored the possibility of landslides and infrastructure failures, which can sometimes occur after strong earthquakes. China's Qinghai province suffers fatalities. While Indonesia was responding to its earthquake, Western China faced its own seismic emergency. A magnitude 6.3 earthquake struck Qinghai province, a vast region known for rugged terrain, high elevations, and sparse populations. Despite the relatively remote location, the quake proved deadly. Authorities confirmed that at least one person lost their life, while several others sustained injuries. Rescue workers were dispatched to affected communities to search damaged structures and assist residents. Emergency medical teams treated the injured while local governments evaluated the need for temporary shelters. The earthquake's depth and location influenced how strongly shaking was felt across surrounding areas. Coal mines evacuated as precaution. One of the immediate concerns following the earthquake involved industrial operations near the epicenter. Coal mining facilities in the region were ordered to evacuate workers while inspections were carried out. Earthquakes can pose serious risks to mining operations because underground tunnels and support systems may be compromised by ground movement. Safety officials prioritized worker protection and structural assessments before allowing operations to resume. Inspectors examined mine shafts, transportation systems, ventilation networks, and other critical infrastructure. Such precautions are considered standard procedure in earthquake-prone regions where industrial facilities could face elevated risks. Search and rescue operations. Continue rescue personnel worked throughout the affected areas looking for anyone who might be trapped beneath debris. Specialized teams equipped with detection equipment searched damaged buildings while engineers evaluated structural stability. The first hours after an earthquake are often considered critical because trapped survivors have the highest chances of rescue during this period. Authorities also monitored roads, bridges, and utility systems for damage. Power outages, communication disruptions, and transportation challenges can complicate emergency response efforts after significant seismic events. Qinghai experiences its own aftershock sequence. As in Indonesia, residents in Qinghai experienced multiple aftershocks following the main earthquake. Several secondary tremors were detected by monitoring stations. For residents already shaken by the initial quake, each aftershock served as a reminder that seismic activity remained ongoing. Many people chose to remain outdoors or avoid damaged structures until authorities completed safety evaluations. Emergency managers emphasized preparedness and advised residents to keep emergency supplies accessible in case additional strong shaking occurred. Japan feels powerful. Tremors. Japan also experienced a significant earthquake during the same period. The tremor originated near the eastern coast of Honshu, the country's largest island. Shaking was felt across a wide area, including Tokyo and neighboring prefectures. Residents reported swaying buildings and vibrating windows, though damage appeared limited compared with the earthquakes in Indonesia and China. Japan's extensive earthquake monitoring network rapidly detected the event and distributed information to government agencies and the public. The country's advanced preparedness systems played a key role in ensuring an organized response. No tsunami threat detected. One of the first questions following any offshore earthquake in Japan is whether a tsunami could develop. Fortunately, meteorological officials quickly determined that the quake did not present a tsunami threat. This announcement provided reassurance to millions of residents living along Japan's densely populated coastlines. Tsunami warnings trigger large-scale evacuations and emergency procedures, making rapid assessment essential after offshore earthquakes. Because no tsunami danger existed, authorities focused primarily on monitoring aftershocks and evaluating any local impacts. Why did these earthquakes happen so close together? The occurrence of multiple strong earthquakes in different countries naturally led many people to wonder whether the events were connected. Experts note that earthquakes frequently occur around the globe every day. The Earth experiences thousands of seismic events annually, though most are too small to be noticed. Indonesia, Japan, and Western China all sit in tectonically active regions. Indonesia lies along the Pacific Ring of Fire, where several tectonic plates interact. Japan also occupies one of the most seismically active locations on Earth. Meanwhile, Western China experiences earthquakes due to ongoing tectonic pressures associated with the collision between the Indian and Eurasian plates. While the earthquakes occurred within a similar time frame, scientists generally caution against assuming a direct connection without evidence. Often, such events reflect the independent movement of separate fault systems. Understanding the Pacific Ring of Fire. Much attention turns to the Pacific Ring of Fire whenever major earthquakes occur. This enormous horseshoe-shaped zone surrounds much of the Pacific Ocean and contains approximately 75% of the world's active volcanoes. The region is characterized by intense tectonic activity where Earth's plates collide, separate, and slide past one another. Countries including Indonesia, Japan, the Philippines, New Zealand, Chile, Mexico, and portions of the United States all lie within this geologically active zone. As a result, earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are common features of life in these areas. Can scientists predict earthquakes? Despite decades of research, scientists still cannot accurately predict exactly when and where major earthquakes will occur. Modern technology allows researchers to identify fault zones and estimate long-term risks, but precise prediction remains beyond current scientific capability. Instead, experts focus on preparedness. Earthquake-resistant construction, emergency planning, public education, and rapid warning systems represent the most effective tools for reducing casualties and damage. Countries such as Japan have invested heavily in these measures, helping save lives during seismic emergencies. Lessons from the day's events, the earthquakes in Indonesia, China, and Japan, highlight several important realities. First, earthquakes remain among the most unpredictable natural hazards facing humanity. Second, preparedness significantly influences outcomes. Communities with strong building standards, public awareness programs, and efficient emergency systems generally experience fewer casualties. Third, recovery often continues long after media attention fades. Families may face months or years of rebuilding after major earthquakes. Finally, these events remind the world that tectonic forces are constantly reshaping the planet beneath our feet. For millions of people across Asia, Tuesday's earthquake served as another powerful demonstration of nature's immense energy and the importance of remaining prepared for future seismic events. As emergency crews continue assessing damage, monitoring aftershocks, and assisting affected communities, attention remains focused on ensuring public safety and helping residents recover from a day marked by fear, disruption, and resilience.